After the Trojan War, Odysseus prepares to return to his hometown Ithaca and reunite with his wife Penelope. The goddess Athena asks Zeus to let Odysseus return safely. She visits Ithaca disguised as a mortal, but saw Penelope's pursuers freeloading at her house. Athena tells the young prince Telemachus the whereabouts of his father Odysseus, so they prepare setting out together to find Odysseus. After visiting Menelaus, they get to know that Odysseus is trapped on the nymph Calypso's island. On Mount Olympus, Athena complains to Zeus about Odysseus' dilemma, so Zeus sends an envoy to demand Calypso to release her captive. Calypso offers Odysseus to have an eternal life just for him to stay, but Odysseus refuses. He builds a raft and sails off. 17 days later, Poseidon creates a storm to revenge for his son, and he washed Odysseus up the shores of Scheria. Scheria is a little country on an island. Athena tells Scheria' princess in a dream to go wash clothes at the seashore. The princess discovers Odysseus and guides him to enter the palace to ask if her parents will help him get home. The king of Scheria agreed to help. He also asked Odysseus to marry his daughter, but Odysseus declined his offer. To receive Odysseus, the Scherians held a feast where they invited the blind singer, Democritus. Odysseus asked Democritus to sing of the Trojan horse, which is a stratagem that Odysseus himself designed. Tears come down as Odysseus listens to the song, making locals ask about his identity. So he tells the story of his 10 years at sea after the Trojan War ended. From here, the story enters a flashback. He says that they first went off course and arrived at a land where people lose their purpose after eating the lotus fruit. Then, they landed on the island of Cyclops, aka Single-Eyed Giant, where Odysseus blinded the giant Polyphemus and saved his people from the cave. The giant asked his father Poseidon to take revenge for him, and hence the storm at the beginning. After that, they arrived at the island of a king with powers given by the god of wind. He gave Odysseus' crew a wind bag to help them home, but some greedy sailors naively opened the bag. The wind all came out and blew them all the way back to that island, but this time the king is unwilling to help again. After a dozen other adventures, Odysseus sacrificed to gods and descended into the underworld. In the underworld, he met the spirit of the prophet Tiresias, who told him his future fate. The spirit of his mother told him about his family's difficulties, and many other spirits offered him advice. After returning to the world, Odysseus received the goddess Circe's warning about his future dangers and how to cope with them. Later, his friends killed the sacred cow, which angered Zeus. His friends all drowned as a result, and he was washed ashore at Calypso's island alone. The flashback ends here. After hearing his story, the king of Scheria gathers abundant resources to send Odysseus home. Poseidon, however, still begrudges Odysseus. As the last obstacle, he surrounds Ithaca with mist and mountains to confuse Odysseus at recognizing his hometown. Athena, dressed as a shepherdess, tells Odysseus that he has already arrived at Ithaca and helps him disguise as a beggar to prepare for kicking his wife Penelope's harassers out of his home.